Welcome to Last Week at the Movies, another news-filled episode to start your week off. Hopefully things are looking good on this Monday for you, that this is going to be an easy week. It's a pretty news-filled day. Sean Astin just became the new president of SAG AFTRA. The Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel is official and it has the OG cast returning. Daniel Day-Lewis has come out of retirement, the retirement that he says that he was never in, I guess. And David Ellison, don't worry if this name doesn't sound familiar, I'll get into it in the news. He's making a massive move to merge Paramount and Warner Bros. Discovery, a move that would reshape the entire industry again. Sean, you know him best as Sam in The Lord of the Rings, has been elected as the new national president of SAG AFTRA, one of Hollywood's leading labor unions. As the industry faces challenges like studio consolidation, overseas production, and AI most specifically, Sean won decisively with 79% of the votes. He plans on a moderate approach to upcoming contract negotiations. He aims for stronger AI protections and efforts to keep productions in the US. Overall, I think this is good. Like, I don't really know anything about Sean or like what he thinks or all the other stuff, but I think that overall this is good. I don't know how many times I have to say this, which is we need to do everything we can to keep the humanities human. AI knows nothing. It can't create anything original. It has no original thought. It can only copy. And with that in mind, like it just is so crazy to me that this is even a argument or even a discussion, or that like we need to fight back against it so hard, but we do apparently. So I think there's just these few things that he said. The two things that are most important to me are just going to be the AI protections and then keeping productions in the US, which I think is awesome. We'll kind of see how things play out because these issues, these strikes and these issues keep coming up. It feels like we have one at least every year and they last for so long. So hopefully we'll kind of keep an eye on things. I'll keep you guys up to date on exactly how this plays out. But overall, I think this is, especially because he won with such a massive majority of the vote, I think it could be a good thing for things to come. I'll keep you up to date. Up next, the official sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie is titled The Super Mario Galaxy Movie. It will premiere in theaters next year on April 3rd, 2026. The film draws inspiration, obviously, from the super popular Wii game, Super Mario Galaxy. It was just announced during a Nintendo Direct for the Mario franchise's 40th anniversary. Key cast members, pretty much everybody, Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Charlie Day, Jack Black, they're all returning. The movie is expected to feature cosmic adventures, I think obviously with Universal handling worldwide distribution. First movie was a freaking, dude, it was just so successful, grossing over $1 billion and became the top video game adaptation at the box office of all time. Nintendo also announced a live-action Legend of Zelda film that is in collaboration with Sony Pictures, and it's scheduled for March. I was surprised by the Mario movie. I thought it was gonna be terrible, but it actually was. I think the thing that sold me the most on it is I'm pretty sure that it's like 90 minutes or less. It's short, it's fast-paced, it hits like all these right nostalgia moments, but then it just keeps moving forward. And so I think they just did a really excellent job at making it quick but not overwhelming you, and making it feel like it didn't feel bloated. It just felt fast-paced, hit all the right notes, and I think they're probably gonna do it again, especially with, dude, Super Mario Galaxy, the game is rad, super dope. So I would imagine they're gonna nail it again. I feel like it's gonna be longer. I see this pushing more of like the 2-hour plus length, and so then I feel like you kind of start to get in trouble there, but we'll see. There wasn't anything else really said about the Zelda movie. I'm not sure how that's gonna go. Like, will it be silly like the Mario movie, or in like comedic, or will it be a little bit more serious? I don't know. Because Sony is in charge of it, I can feel it taking more of a serious tone. I would be down for that because we have Mario, so it'd be cool to see something a little bit different, especially if you've got, like, if The Legend of Zelda was made something more like the new animated Spider-Man movies, where it was like cell shaded or something, it could be super dope. Up next is the news about Daniel Day-Lewis coming out of retirement. Now, he says that he never truly intended to retire from acting when he announced that he was retiring back in 2017. What he says is that, you know, after after The Phantom Thread, he needed to take a break from that lifestyle. He wanted to pursue other projects, and he just needed a break from the emotional toll of filmmaking, is what he says. But to me, it's like, bro, you also said that you were retiring. He describes feeling hollowed out by the process, but always loved the craft itself. What he says is that his return to acting was motivated by a lingering sadness about stepping away while his son Ronan was continuing to make films. This led to their collaboration on Ronan's upcoming movie. I still can never say this name. I don't know how to say it. Anemone. That is what I keep calling it. I don't know actually what it's called. His son's directorial debut is this movie, and what Daniel says is that it allowed him to kind of re-engage with the craft of acting in a smaller, more contained production. This is what he says. Reflecting on the past, he admitted that announcing his retirement sounded like grandiose gibberish. And he says he should have kept quiet and never announced that he was going to retire. And then he finishes everything by saying working with his son reignited his passion for acting, which remains strong even as he ages. This is comical. I think like I like Daniel Day-Lewis. Let's just say that. I like the movies that he's in. I think that he's a great actor. So like that, there's that. And then there's this other thing, which is he clearly did want to retire and not be in movies anymore. And then when his son was like, hey dad, this is my first movie. You're one of the best actors of all time. Do you mind like acting in my movie and coming out of retirement? And he's like, well, of course, son, I'll come out of retirement for you. I'm a big, people are going to come see this movie just for the fact that I'm in it. So like the Nepo baby just crap, dude, drives me nuts, but that is what it is. This movie, watching the trailer on Movie Trailer Tuesday, it didn't look very good actually. And so I'm curious to see how it's going to play out, but I actually don't think that it's going to do very well. And for his son, Ronan, who this is his breakout, I feel like if you should use that card, the daddy Daniel Day-Lewis card, he should use it wisely. And I don't think that this first movie was the play. We'll see how things play out for it. But yeah, I thought overall this was just like, it was almost like a comedy write-up story, right? Where Daniel Day-Lewis says, I'm retiring. Just kidding. I never should have said that. I am, but then my son, because blah, blah, blah. It just is, the whole thing is silly. Now, finally, to wrap up the news, this is a big piece of news, but it's like a little bit more like in-depth and serious. So just bear with me. Stay here. You'll learn a lot more about what's happening in the industry. I promise if you stick around. So David Ellison, he's the son of Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison. Now, I'm just going to stop right here and just quickly tell you who the Ellisons are if you don't already know, okay? So the Ellison family is notably led by Larry Ellison, the billionaire co-founder and chairman of the Oracle Corporation, one of the largest software companies in the world. Larry Ellison is among the wealthiest people in the world, with a net worth estimated around $130 billion as of 2025. Now, his son, David Ellison, has emerged as a significant Hollywood figure. He founded and led Skydance Media, a major film and TV production company that merged with Paramount Global. Now, David Ellison, the son, right? So he primarily grew up with his mom and his sister. Now, his sister is a prominent film producer known for founding Annapurna Pictures. So to kind of like summarize, the Ellison family is known for both just crazy wealth and then a considerable influence in technology and entertainment industries. Although they tend to keep a low profile in the media, that's maybe why you haven't heard of these names. Okay, so now that you're all caught up, right? So David, the son, bought Paramount Global for $8 billion through his Skydance Media. And now he's preparing a substantial all-cash bid, potentially exceeding over $70 billion to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery. Warner Bros. Discovery is the studio behind like HBO and CNN and Warner Bros. Okay? So he wants to buy these film and TV studios. This potential deal would combine two major Hollywood forces, consolidating valuable intellectual property and streaming assets. So David's interest is particularly focused on obviously like the prize of them all, HBO Max, right behind me. So HBO Max boasts around 150 million subscribers globally, and that is compared to Paramount Plus's 78 million. So like a huge difference, right? So the acquisition could create a new media conglomerate centered on streaming and studio content and is seen as the next major consolidation in entertainment after Disney's acquisition of 21st Century Fox. Now, the good news, before we get like too much into my opinion on this, is that the deal faces significant challenges. Warner Bros. Discovery is also planning to split into separate entities by April 2026, which could influence the acquisition strategy. As of this write-up, Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount have not commented publicly on the bid, but the news has already caused major stock price jumps for both of these companies. The move reflects the Ellison family's increasing influence on Hollywood's future, aiming to reshape the industry's landscape with a focus on streaming dominance and legacy studio power. Okay, so that was a lot of words, a lot of stuff, but it's interesting information and it's important information. When you have these massive families buying up everything and the competition is so important. And so when you have these mergers of the companies are so huge, right? And the companies are already big and they already own so many other things. Like Warner Brothers Discovery is already huge. You know what I mean? It already has HBO and it already has Discovery. It's already big. So the fact that they would then merge and be even bigger and be under all that money is still going to one place. There's no competition and it's honestly depressing. And it plays into a little bit of what like the first news thing with SAG AFTRA and like all that, like those protections. All we can hope for is that we don't get another Disney just buys everything, because I mean, Pixar has, ever since Disney bought Pixar, the Pixar movies have lost what they once were, right? It'd be like, could you imagine then if Disney somehow bought Sony, how it would all look the same, it would all feel the same, there'd be nothing different. It just would be more like slop, and it's pretty depressing. So when you hear these names, now you know, right? That if you hear anything about the Ellison family, you know who they are, you know what they're doing, and if you have like just to spread the word of like, hey, this is bad, not that you could do anything about it, but like, I think just that alone is enough. If enough people say like, this is bad and we don't want this, it ends up, it works, it gains steam, the power of the people's voice, and I think that there's like something to it. But this is huge news, and hopefully it doesn't happen, and hopefully Warner Brothers Discovery, like they split in 2026 and it causes issues and they can't get the funding and all the stuff. We just really don't want another Disney takeover. I mean, like anything to avoid it, really. Just as much competition as possible, dude. It'd be like, I mean, like what happens when A24 gets bought up, right? By the Ellisons. What happens when Disney buys A24? What happens when Disney buys Neon? You know what I mean? It just, you lose it. You lose what's special, and it just is, it's a bummer. All right, so on that positive note, let's get into last week's box office numbers, shall we? So at number one was The Conjuring: Last Rites. It absolutely crushed the competition. It pulled in just under $105 million with over 3,700 theaters showing it. That's an average of more than 27,000 per screen. In second place, Disney's Hamilton held strong with just under 13 million. Not bad for a stage to screen hit that's really just thriving off a very passionate fan base. Sliding in the third place is Warner Brothers Weapons. It dropped sharply from last week's top spot, earning just over $7 million. That is a 54% decline, signaling its momentum may have already began to fade. In fourth place, Freakier Friday brought in just under $5 million, a wide release, but with a steep 50% drop, the buzz may be dying down. And then to round out the top five, Sony's Caught Stealing managed nearly $5 million, but with a modest per theater average. It's not pulling big crowds despite its wide release, which is a crying shame. I talked about it last week. Caught Stealing is worth your time. You should go see it if you haven't seen it already. It's worth supporting Aronofsky and Sony and these companies that aren't being bought by anybody, that just have that are trying to stay original. You should definitely support them. We'll have to see how this week's theater, I'm curious to see next week when we talk about how like The Long Walk did and stuff. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But as far as last week, that's your top five. If you made it this far into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you would please subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below. It takes just a second and it really helps the channel get seen by more people and to grow. So I seriously, if you made it this far, I already appreciate you. But if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Now, to end the show, as we always do, let's talk about things, the big movies, the wide releases coming to theaters this weekend. There are only two, and I'm really excited for one of them. And this is first one, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. It is a romantic fantasy film directed by Kogonada. He did After Yang, and it's written by Seth Reese. The story follows Sarah, played by Margot Robbie, her first role since Barbie, and David, played by Colin Farrell, who meet as strangers at a wedding. A twist of fate sends them on a magical, fantastical adventure. They are able to relive significant moments from their past via mysterious doors. And in these doors, it kind of shows like how they got to where they are now in their lives. Importantly, they may also have a chance to influence what might still be, to alter their futures. This really looks fun and cute, and I love both Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. To see them together in a romantic movie like this, I just think it's going to be awesome. I think that they are both stellar actors, and that even if the story isn't excellent, that they will help carry it. I think that I'm a story guy. I think story is king, and that applies to The Big Beautiful Journey as well. But when you have great actors, they can really help move things along. I think it's going to be good, and I'm excited to see it. Now up next, this one is a little controversial. You have seen it because there has been so much advertisements around this movie. It is unbelievable. I'll get into it more in just a second. So the movie is Him. A rising football star suffers a career-threatening injury on the eye of his big career break. Just when it seems like his future's over, he's invited to train under his idol, the legendary quarterback Isaiah White, at a scheduled compound, but what begins as a dream mentorship soon twists into something far darker. As the lines between discipline, obsession, and horror blur, he discovers that greatness always comes at a price, and not everyone survives the game. Okay, so that's kind of the write-up, but I think this movie's gonna be bad. Now, I don't wanna say that, but I've watched several trailers on it, and I've been paying attention to it as it's been happening, and I feel like I'm getting this bad taste in my mouth. When there's this much push, this much talk, this much advertising, doesn't matter where you are, whether you're on YouTube, watching it on TV, it doesn't matter what, on Instagram, you're seeing advertisements for it, it's coming up, and I think it's gonna be bad. And I think that the company, I can't remember who's behind it. It might be Neon, because I don't think it's A24, but maybe it is. It might not be either. Either way, I feel like it's gonna do really good at first, because people that are excited for it because of all the ads and all the push to go and see it is so big. But the second reviews and stuff come out for it, I think that people are gonna be like, yo, what is this? So I'm gonna go see it. I'll leave a review. So if you want, you can wait for me to leave your review and tell you how it actually is, because you know how I do it. Like, try to keep things as honest and just as transparent as possible. But yeah, that's my prediction. So we will see if I'm right. And that's it for this episode of Last Week at the Movies. Thanks for watching it through to the end. I appreciate you sticking around. What did I miss? Is there news that I missed? Are there movies that you're excited for? Are you excited for Him? Let me know down below if I'm off, if I'm wrong. Appreciate you. I'll be down there in the comments with you. Subscribe if you aren't already. I drop new videos every single day, so I'll see you again tomorrow. See ya.